Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, Chapter 4. Sai Baba's First Advent in Shirdi. In this chapter, we will discuss Mission of the Saints, Shirdi, a holy tirth, Personality of Sai Baba, Dictum of Gauli Bua, Appearance of Vitthal, Sher Sagar's story, Das Kanu's bath in Prayag, Immaculate Conception of Sai Baba and his first advent in Shri, 3 Vadas. In the last chapter, I described the circumstances which led me to write Sai Satcharit. Let me now describe the first advent of Sai Baba in Shirdi. Mission of the Saints. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapters 7 to 8, that whenever there is a decay of dharma and an ascendancy of unrighteousness, I manifest myself for the protection of the virtuous and the destruction of the vicious. And for the establishment of righteousness, I manifest myself age after age. This is the mission of Lord and the sages and saints who are His representatives and who appear at appropriate times and work in their own way to fulfill that mission. For instance, when the twice born, that is the Brahmin, the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas, neglect their duties, and when the Shudras try to usurp the duties of other classes, when spiritual preceptors are not respected but humiliated, when nobody cares for religious instructions, when everybody thinks himself very learned, when people begin to partake of forbidden foods and intoxicating drinks, when under the cloak of religion people indulge in malpractices, when people belonging to different sects fight amongst themselves, when Brahmins fail to do Sandhya adoration and the Orthodox leave their religious practices, when yogis neglect their meditation, when people think that wealth, progeny, wife are their sole concern and thus turn away from the true path of salvation, then saints appear and try to set matters at right path by their words and action. They serve us as beacon lights and show us the path and the right way for us to follow. In this way, many saints such as Nivrutti, Jnandev, Muktabai, Namdev, Gora, Gunai, Eknath, Tukaram, Narhari, Narsibhai, Sajan Kasai, Savat Ramdas and various others did appear at various times to show the right path to the people, and so the present advent came as Shri Sai Baba of Shirdi. Shirdi, a holy tirth. The banks of the Godavari river in Ahmednagar district are very fortunate, for they gave birth and refuge to many a saint, prominent amongst them being Jnaneshwar. Shirdi also falls in the Kopargaon Taluka or Ahmednagar district. After crossing the Godavari river at Kopargaon, one gets the way to Shirdi. When you go 3 kos, that is 9 miles, you come to Nimgaon, from where Shri is visible. Shri is as famous and well known as other holy places like Gangapur, Narsimhavari, Audambar on the banks of Krishna river. As the devotee Damoji flourished and blessed Mangalwada near Pandharpur, as Samarth Ramdas at Sajjangarh, and as Shri Narsimha Saraswati at Saraswati Vadi, so Sainath flourished at Shri and blessed it. Personality of Sai Baba. It is on account of Shri Sai Baba that Shri grew into importance. Let us see what sort of personage Sai Baba was. He conquered this sansar, which is the worldly existence, which is very difficult and hard to cross. Peace or mental calm was his ornament, and he was the repository of wisdom. He was the home of Vaishnava devotees, most generous, just like Karna amongst all, the quintessence of all essences. He had no love for perishable things and was always engrossed in self-realization, which was his sole concern. He felt no pleasure in the things of this world or of the world beyond. His antarang, which means his heart, was as clear as a mirror, and his speech always rained nectar. The rich or poor people were the same to him. He neither knew nor cared for honor or dishonor. He was the Lord of all things. He spoke freely and mixed with all people, watched the acting and dancing of nautch girls and heard ghazal songs. Still, he severed not an inch from samadhi, which is the mental equilibrium. The name of Allah was always on his lips. While the world woke, he slept, and while the world slept, he was vigilant. His abdomen was as calm as the deep sea. His ashram could not be determined, nor his actions could be definitely determined. And though he lived in one place, he knew all the transactions of the world. His darbar was imposing. He told daily thousands of short stories. Still, he severed not an inch from his vow of silence. He always leaned against the wall in the masjid or walked morning, noon and evening towards the Lendi and Chawri. Still, he at all times abided in the self. Though a siddha, he acted like a sadhak. He was meek, humble and egoless and pleased all. Such was Sai Baba, and as the soil of Shirdi was trodden by Sai Baba's feet, it attained extraordinary importance. As Dhyaneshwar elevated Alindi, Eknath did to Paithan, so Sai Baba raised Shirdi. Blessed are the grass leaves and stones of Shirdi, for they could kiss the holy feet of Sai Baba and take his dust on their head. Shirdi became to us devotees another Pandharpur, Jagannath, Dwarka, Kashi, Rameshwar, Padri-Kedar, Nasik, Triambakeshwar, Mahakaleshwar, Mahabaleshwar, Gokran. Contact of Sai Baba in Shirdi was like our study of Veda and Tantra. It quietened our sansar and rendered self-realization. The darshan of Shri Sai was our yoga sadhana, and talk with him removed our sins. Shampooing his legs was our bath in Triveni Prayag, and drinking the holy water of his feet destroyed our sins. To us, his commands were Vedas, and accepting his Udi and Prasad was all purifying. He was our Shri Krishna and Shri Ram, who gave us solace, and he was our Parabrahma. He was himself beyond the pair of dvandvas, never dejected nor elated. He was always engrossed in his self as existence, knowledge and bliss. Shri was his center, but his field of action extended far beyond to Punjab, Calcutta, North India, Gujarat, Dhaka, which is now in Bangladesh, and Konkan. Thus, the name of Sai Baba spread far and wide, and people from all parts came to take his darshan and be blessed. By mere darshan, minds of people, whether pure or impure, would become quiet at once. Bhagwantrao Kshirshagar story. How fond was Baba for Vitthal worship was illustrated in Bhagwantrao Kshirshagar story. The father of Bhagwantrao was a devotee of Vithoba and used to make varis, that is annual trips, to Pandharpur. He also had an image of Vithoba at home, which he worshipped. After his death, the son stopped everything, the vari, the worship and Shraddh ceremony, etc. When Bhagwantrao came to Shirdi, Baba, on remembering his father, at once said, "His father was my friend, so I dragged the son here. The son never offered Naivedya, and so he starved Vitthal and me. So I brought him here. I shall remonstrate him now and set him to worship." Das Kanu's bath in Prayag. The Hindus think that a bath in the holy Tirth of Prayag, where the Ganga and Yamuna meet, is very meritorious, and thousands of pilgrims go there at periodical times to have the sacred bath there. Once, Das Kanu thought that he should go to Prayag for a bath and came to Baba to get his permission for doing so. Baba replied to him, "It is not necessary to go so far. Our Prayag is here, believe me." Then, wonder of wonders, when Das Kanu placed his head on Baba's feet, out flowed streams of Ganga Yamuna water from both the toes of Baba. Seeing this miracle, Das Kanu was overwhelmed with feelings of love and adoration and was full of tears. Inwardly, he felt inspired, and his speech burst forth into a song in praise of Baba and his Leelas. Immaculate Conception of Sai Baba and his first advent in Shri. Nobody knew the parents' birth or birthplace of Sai Baba. Many inquiries were made, many questions were put to Baba and others regarding these items, but no satisfactory answer or information has yet been obtained. Practically, we know nothing about these matters. Namdev and Kabir were not born like ordinary mortals. They were found as infants in mother of pearls. Namdev being found on the bank of Bhimrathi river by Gonai, and Kabir on the bank of Bhagirathi river by Tamal. Similar was the case with Sai Baba. He first manifested himself as a young lad of 16 years under a neem tree in Shirdi for the sake of Bhakt. Even then, he seemed to be full with knowledge of Brahma. He had no desire for worldly objects even in dream. He had kicked out Maya, and Mukti was serving at his feet. One old woman of Shri, the mother of Nana Chopdar, described him thus: "This young lad, fair, smart and very handsome, was first seen under the neem tree, seated in an asan. The people of the village were wonderstruck to see such a young lad practicing hard penance, not minding heat and cold. By the day, he associated with none. By night, he was afraid of nobody. People were wondering and asking whence this young chap had turned up. His form and features were so beautiful that a mere look endeared him to all. He went to nobody's door, always sat near the neem tree. Outwardly, he looked very young, but by his action, he was really a great soul. He was the embodiment of dispassion and was an enigma to all. One day, it so happened that God Khandoba possessed the body of some devotee, and people began to ask him, Deva, you please inquire what blessed father's son is this lad and whence did he come? God Khandoba asked them to bring a pickaxe and dig in a particular place. When it was dug, bricks were found underneath a flat stone. When the stone was removed, a corridor was seen in which 4 samais, that is diyas, were burning. The corridor led to a cellar where cow-mouth shaped structures, wooden boards, rosaries were seen. Khandoba said, this lad practiced penance here for 12 years. Then the people began to question the lad about this. He put them off the scene by telling them that this was his Guru's place, his holy Vatan, and requested them to guard this well. The people then closed the corridor as before. As Ashwatha and Audambar trees are held sacred, Baba regarded this neem tree equally sacred and loved it most. Malsapati and other Shri devotees regard this site as the resting place, Samadhi Sthan, of Baba's Guru and prostrate before it. 3 Varas. First, the site with the neem tree and surrounding space was bought by Mr. Hari Vinayak Sathe, and on this site a big building styled Sathe Vara was erected. This Vara was the sole resting place for pilgrims who flocked there. A platform was built, also called as a par, around the neem tree, and lofts with steps were constructed. Under the steps, there is a niche facing south, and devotees sit on the par facing north. It is believed that he who burns incense there on Thursday and Friday evening will by God's grace be happy. This Vara was old and dilapidated and needed repairs. The necessary repairs, additions and alterations have been made now by the Sansthan. Second, then after some years, another Vara, Dikshit's Vara, was constructed. Kaka Sahib Dikshit, solicitor of Mumbai, had gone to England. He had injured his leg in an accident there. The injury could not be got rid of by any means. Nana Sahib Chandorkar advised him to see Sai Baba. So, he went to Sai Baba in 1909 and requested him to cure the lameness of his mind rather than that of his leg. He was so much pleased with the darshan of Sai Baba that he decided to reside in Shirdi. So, he built a Vara for himself and other devotees. The foundation of this building was laid on 10 December 1910. On this day, 2 other important events took place. First, Mr. Dada Saheb Khapade was given permission to return home. And second, the night Aarti at Chawdi was started. The Vara was completed and inhabited on the Ram Navami day in 1911 with due rites and formalities. Third, then another Vara or a palatial mansion was put up by the famous millionaire Mr. Bhoti of Nagpur. Lots of money was spent on this building, but all the amount was well utilized, as Sai Baba's body is resting in this Vara, which is now called the Samadhi Mandir. The site of this mandir formerly had a garden which was watered and looked after by Baba. 3 Varas thus came up, where there was none formerly. Of these, Sathe's Vara was most useful to all in the early days. The story of the garden, which was attended by Sai Baba with the help of Vaman Tatya, the temporary absence of Sai Baba from Shirdi, and his coming again to Shirdi with the marriage party of Chand Patil, the company of Devidas, Jankidas, and Gangagir, Baba's wrestling match with Mohiddin Tamboli, residing in the masjid, love of Mr. Dingle, and other devotees and other incidents will be described in the next chapter. Bow to Shri Sai, peace be to all. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha.